Happy Tuesday, everyone. We got a fun little AMRAP coming your way. 15 minutes of pure ascending joy. Before we get to that, let's talk about what we got for warm-up. Our warm-up today is going to consist of some wrist mobility. We got some curls, extension, rotations, cool exercises if you want to use a light load, like at the most 7.5 pounds. All right, most people live in the world of 5 or less. So if you have some small dumbbells, a can of soup, or whatever you want to play with, you can play around with that, a little water bottle with some weight in it. That's fine too, but you can get a great benefit from these without any external loading as well. So we'll go through those quick, make sure you're comfortable with those, but cool little start to the day with some wrist mobility. After that though, we got a plank lean of 10 alternating reps, forearm plank to dolphin for 3 to 5 reps, prone shoulder raise for 6 to 10 alternating reps. We're going to hit that for 2 rounds. And what that's going to do is just really start playing around with waking up that body, getting things fired up, and making those shoulders a little bit more happy today to start the day. After that, we're going to continue heating up the arms, the shoulders, getting ourselves in good positions for what's to come. We have a floor pike hold for 10 to 30 seconds, floor facing angel for 3 and 5 second holds in that nice solid position, laying arm extension for 5 to 10, humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5 reps, working on some of those pressing skills. Even though we're not doing any pressing today, it's a nice way to get those arms fired up and get some heat in there. Then we're going to jump around, do some ankle pops, in-out hops, skips, all of them, one of them, it's up to you for 20 seconds, and then finish off with some calf raises in 20 seconds to continue to fire up those feet and get those calves nice and solid. You're going to hit that for 2-3 rounds depending on where you're at, and then we're going to start working on a little bit of skill work for some practice round, and we're going to take down a 15-minute AMRAP. So our 15-minute AMRAP is going to consist of a 45-second handstand hold of some sort, and then 10 double unders. Then the next round, you'll do your 45-second handstand hold, and then you'll do 20 double unders, or a double under equivalent. And we're going to continue that phase, ascending, all right, by 10 reps on the double under every single time. So it's going to be a fun little work set, good chance to work on some handstand skill, all right, plus work on a little bit of skipping volume for some skill development and get that cardio up there. And the hardest part about this one is actually going to be breathing upside down. So not so much in the first 2 rounds, but as you continue, it's going to get a little tougher, breathing a little heavier coming into that handstand hold. So we really have to work on breathing in a nice steady state fashion through the nose and filling through the belly and the low ribs. Let's get you guys warmed up. Let's get you ready for the adventure at hand. All right, let's get those feet under those hips and start by taking the arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to reach to one side. Oh, just wake things up. We'll reach to the other side. Come back to center, keeping the ribs in. We're going to shrug, and then we're going to pull those shoulders back down. We're going to shrug and pull them back down. One more time. Shrug and pull them back down. We're going to forward fold, touch those toes, walk with those shins, nice flat back. We'll come down, framing a foot, we'll step it into our lizard, nice and square in those hips. We're going to take that inside hand all the way up overhead, bend at that 90 degrees, we're going to reach straight ahead, and we're going to pull back. Straight ahead, and pull back, straight ahead, and pull back. We'll reach up, we'll lower that hand down, we're going to step back into our down dog. We're reaching those hips nice and high, setting those shoulders. If you like, you can walk those heels out one at a time, just kind of waking things up slowly, making sure things feel pretty good through that body. Just kind of saying hello. And we'll come back into our plank. We're going to step the other foot up, nice and square. Inside hands, we're going to reach up, we're going to bend to 90, reach straight ahead. Pull back, straight ahead, pull back, straight ahead, and pull back. We'll reach up, we'll come back down with that hand, gripping the floor, and step back into that down dog again, reaching those hips, walking those heels out nice and slow, nice and easy. Good. Come back into our plank. Pushing through those shoulders, gripping the floor. We'll tiptoe those feet up. Roll ourselves up. Big total stretch overhead, big reach. Big reach. Oh, come on back down. Whew. Let's get you guys fired up and ready to go, all right? We are gonna start by rocking some wrist mobility, but if there's anything else you'd like to do for yourself, cat-cows, thread the needles, any of that stuff you'd like to take down, pause the video, take that down now, and then come join me. We're gonna have a seat on the floor. All right, a couple of exercises we're gonna start off with today involve us sitting down. I'm just gonna turn off to the side here so you guys can kind of see a little bit better. We're gonna have one knee bent, nice and tall chest, and tall seated position. I like to bring my little coaster onto my knee as a nice little spot to rest my elbow on, so it's not elbow on knee. And I'm gonna get myself set up so my palm is facing forward. I'm not holding onto a dumbbell right now, but if you were holding a dumbbell, you just have it face down and ready for action. Now these exercises, we wanna isolate at the wrist specific, so we're trying to not get the upper arm involved. So what we're gonna do is we're going to push the knuckles down towards the floor, and then we're gonna pull the knuckles back towards the forearm. And then push down nice and slow, and pull back. Trying to keep that hand square, not rotating in that press and pull. So we're gonna work back and forth with that for a total count of 10. So down and up is 1 rep. Then we're gonna turn the palm up. We're gonna do the similar thing. We're gonna push the knuckles down and pull it back. Try to keep that wrist square. This is the one that's really challenging that we don't want to curl into our elbow with. We want to make sure we're just isolating it to the wrist itself. Okay? Our last one, we turn the thumb or the palm down again, and we're going to work rotations. We're going to turn the thumb or turn the door handle, rotating open just until you feel it in your elbow, and then you're going to close, coming back into that rotation. So we're not rotating so we open up through the entire shoulder. We're just going until we feel it in the elbow, find that range, and then turn it back in. And all these exercises, again, too, can be done with load or without. You can get tremendous benefit in terms of range of motion. Just working that wrist through that nice range of motion. You're gonna feel it in your forearm a little bit, and you're gonna feel it in your elbow just a tad as you're working those rotations. And it's gonna be a nice way to get those hands ready to start your day. So light load or no load, take your time. We're looking at 5 to 10 repetitions of those, each of those exercises. You can play around, mix and match, do what you need to do, and or even a couple rounds just to get the forearms ready. Pause the video, take that down, rock it, get the body ready. We're gonna move into a little bit more kind of plank work, some forearm stuff to get that core heated up and the shoulders ready. All right, our first official movement set is our plank lean. So I'm gonna get myself set up facing the camera. I have nice wide fingers, but my hands are under my shoulders. I'm gonna push my shoulders to the ceiling and pull the ribs in. I'm going to lean to the left, keeping my arms straight. And I'm gonna lean to the right, to that end range that allows me to kind of move well. As I lean, I'm initiating through the upper body, and the lower body is following suit. So I'm really focusing on that good activation through the upper body and that good activation through the shoulder on the way back. The whole time I'm doing these leans, I'm pushing my shoulders to the sky so I get that nice sense of protraction through the shoulder, and that's going to allow to keep that shoulder nice and stable and strong as I'm maintaining that nice solid plank position. So if you feel yourself starting to sink in between your shoulder blades, take a moment, drop to the knee, maybe give yourself cat-cow, give yourself a rest, reset, and get set for those next reps. Our next exercise, we come down to our forearm plank. We're going to work forearm plank to dolphin. So we're going to get ourselves set up, palms down, elbows under the shoulders. I'm going to push my shoulders up to the sky, get myself established in that good forearm plank first. Then I'm going to pull my hips back and up, and if I need to step my feet in a little bit, I can. I'm going to soften my knees, push back with that chest towards the thighs, and then come back into that plank. So I'm pushing through the shoulders, pulling the ribs in, I soften those knees, I pull back, pushing with that upper body, and come back into that nice solid plank position. So it's very similar activation that we use when we're working on our down dog through that nice lat position, pushing and setting through those arms, except it's a little different, a little more intensive on the triceps and the lats in our dolphin because we're on our forearms. But it's the same position. We're pushing through the shoulders, our shoulders are wrapping around the body, and then we're pulling into that nice tall body position with soft knees. All right, so you can get that really nice hip position for your dolphin. Last but not least, we're gonna lay on the floor. So laying on the floor, we're gonna get our hands out in front. My armpits are pressing down towards the ground. My toes are squeezed together, pressed into the floor. Glutes tight, ribs, hips pull in, armpits down, palms down. I should be able to feel some tension here from pinky to pinky. And as I hold this tension, I'm going to lift my arm, armpit staying facing the floor, and then lower. I press that arm in for stability. I lift the other arm, and then I lower. And I'm going to alternate back and forth, working on maintaining that good core position as I activate through that shoulder and I work back and forth in that position. So what we want to think about is maintaining that hollow position, pulling the ribs and hips in just a bit, so that's going to pull the belly button away from the floor, maintaining that strong lower body, that strong toe position as we just focus on each individual arm at a time. You can do both arms at a time, but I like that single arm option because it really does allow you to focus on that good shoulder position. Sometimes that's lost when we do doubles because we think, oh, I just got to get them up, and all of a sudden our arms are turning inwards, or we want to keep the armpit pointing down towards the floor. So take your time with those. Really work for position and that core work. If you need to reset your core on every couple reps. I'd say 2 to 4. It's not a bad thing to do, is just check in with your core position to make sure it's solid. Quick recap, we have a plank lean of 10 alternating reps, forearm plank to dolphin for 3 to 5, prone shoulder raise 6 to 10 alternating reps for 2 rounds. That's going to get things kind of fired up, going to work on a little bit of mobility there for the arms, and it's going to give you a chance to really see how those shoulders are feeling today. Pause the video, take that down. We're going to move into a little bit more core work for you guys in shoulder prep and work on some positional work for the handstands to come. All right, continuing with our streak of the shoulders, we're going to work on a floor pike hold, so 10 to 30 seconds. So what we're going to play around with is we're going to get our hands under our shoulders. We're going to start in our tabletop. And the cool thing about this is that we're going to walk our toes and knees together, so we're in a nice tight position. Now with this, we want to set the shoulders up and the core up before we even lift. So we're going to push the shoulders to the ceiling, pull the ribs in, and once we have that nice tight core position, we are going to straighten those legs, loading the shoulders and the arms. So our goal when we straighten the legs is to keep the weight over the shoulders and those shoulders over the hands. You can tiptoe your feet a little closer to your hands, but we want to make sure that our primary focus is keeping those hands, elbows, shoulders stacked, and as close to the hip stacked over the shoulders as we can. Couple key things to focus on: active through the shoulder, pushing those shoulders towards the ears, pushing the floor away if that helps, and keeping those ribs in nice and tight. Because the floor pike hold is a really nice exercise to simulate what we need to have engaged for the handstand, but we're in a little bit more controlled situation because our feet and our hands are on the floor. So take advantage of that, work that hard, and focus on those 2 key points: shoulders, shoulder activation, and core. From there, we're going to lay on the floor for the next 3 exercises. So we're going to come back onto our stomachs. We're going to bring our hands into the bottom portion of our push-up. From here, what we're going to do, I like to use the floor facing, or the humeral glide before the floor facing angel holds. So I'm going to pull my shoulders forward to where I don't necessarily want them in a push-up. And then I'm going to pull them back and set them. So I have them set in that good position. I pull my ribs in. I'm going to squeeze my shoulders together, which is going to pull the elbows off the ground. And I'm going to hold that position. Then I'll lower, reset, and if I'd like to, I'll go back into that humeral glide. So I'll bring the shoulders forward where I don't want them. I'll pull the shoulders back to where I do. Pull the ribs in so I'm set. Squeeze the shoulders, lifting the elbows and the hands, and then come back down. So I don't want you to worry about how high you get those hands. I want you to worry about maintaining the core position, squeezing the shoulders together, the elbows coming straight back, and those hands coming off as high as they can. Our next exercise, we come down to our hands by our hip. Our shoulders are pulled back and set, and our ribs and hips are set here as well. We're going to press the hands up to the ceiling, and we're going to come back down. We're going to press the hands up, come back down. Press up, keeping the arms straight, and down. You're going to do that for 5 to 10 reps. If you'd like to load that lightly, again, super light loading, at the very most, we'd be looking at would be like 5 pounds. So keep that in mind. This is not meant to be a super heavy load if you are going to use a little bit of weight. We're looking like soup cans, maybe a little plate if you have one, small dumbbells, but even if you don't, something that's really nice if you want to make it harder or seem harder, do a nice tempo. So a 3-second tempo up, a little pause, 3-second tempo down, maintaining good position and moving slower to help open up those shoulders. From here, what we're going to move into is a humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5 reps. So we're going to get ourselves set up again on our stomach, getting set up with our hands just outside the chest, just outside the shoulders. Elbows are stacked over top of the wrist. My hands are wide, so I have my fingers set wide and grippy. I'm going to pull my shoulders forward where I don't want them. I'm going to pull the shoulders back. I'm going to pull my ribs and hips in. Take a big breath. Push to those knees, holding that strong position for a beat to make sure I'm set, and then maintaining the elbow position as I lower down. So I'm trying to maintain that shoulder position that we use in the push-up on the way up and on the way down. So we're setting ourselves up at that 45 degree at the armpit and maintaining that nice tripod as we move through that range of motion. So take your time with those, reset each position between each rep, and make sure that we're maintaining that good strong shoulder and core position for that push-up. If you'd like to make those harder, you can add in a 3-second negative on the way down, but make sure we're leading with the chest and keeping that core nice and tight. Our next exercise, we get to stand up, shake those arms out a little bit, and we have a choice of 3. So we're just using this to get our ankles kind of fired up and our feet ready to go for a little bit of impact. So what we have is our ankle pop. So we have our feet under our hips, toes straight ahead, glutes tight, ribs tight, elbows nice and set. And from here, I'm just going to set up like I'm skipping without the rope. So I'm working on relaxing my shoulders, keeping my core tight, my glutes tight, and just allowing that nice natural rebound through the knees and the ankles. So with that, we're trying to maintain good position through the upper body, but we're not maintaining a ton of tension through the arms. We're trying to let them flow so that when we start using that rope, that we're just using those wrists and we're not gassing ourselves out through the upper body. If you're looking at that going, I kind of want to work on some footwork, we can work on some in-out hops instead. So we get our feet set up in our squat stance, and we're going to jump them in and out, just working back and forth. You can try and go as fast as you can. You can try and go steady with your stance or your bounce. You can also work on a little bit of footwork and work on that in-out step to work on some footwork work just to get those ankles and feet fired up and get the brain fired up as well. So we're going to work on a little bit of coordination and agility there. Last but not least, if you'd like to skip instead or build into the skip, you can skip for 20 seconds. Working on double unders, single unders, whatever you'd like to practice if you have access to a skipping rope and or space in your home to skip. Our last exercise is going to continue to build those ankles and those feet, and it's the calf raise. So we're going to get our feet, toes pointed straight ahead, nice and tall, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the core. And if you'd like to load this to the front with a dumbbell or the suitcase, you can, but we're going to squeeze and lift onto the big toe, pinky toe, and then lower those heels down. We're going to squeeze and lift, and then lower. So we're trying to stay balanced between the big toe and the pinky toe as we push through those feet. So we're not rolling out to the side, we're staying square through that foot and nice and balanced through those feet. So take your time with those. You can take them at a nice steady pace. You can pause at the top. You can use a nice little eccentric. Whatever you want to do that's going to allow you to execute that movement well and wake up and strengthen those feet. As a quick recap, we have 2 rounds. We have a floor pike hold for 10 to 30 seconds, floor facing angel of 3 at 5 seconds, laying arm extension for 5 to 10, humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5, ankle pop, in-out hop, skip, whatever you'd like to play with there to get those feet ready for 20 seconds of work, and then 20 seconds of calf raises to get those legs continue to fire up. Pause the video, take that down, get things ready to go. We're going to move into our work set, which is 15 minutes, handstands, and some skipping. We've made it to the work set. Our shoulders are warm, our arms are ready. Now let's talk about the handstand. So we have a couple different options for the handstand for you guys. It's going to be a good day today with this. Our handstand hold we can take from completely vertical on the wall all the way horizontal onto the floor. So some really cool stuff with this we can play around with and have some fun with. Now the handstand, if you do have wall space, you can work on wall walk up, kick up, whatever you need to do, wall angle hold, whatever you'd like to play with for that handstand hold, you can work on the wall. That's going to give you good position and you feel comfortable doing it. Now if you don't have wall space that you're comfortable kicking up or walking up, and you have an ottoman or a table or something you want to put your feet up on that's stable, we can do a box handstand. We can do this from the knees or the toes. So I'm going to get my feet up on this box. I'm going to get myself set up, nice and strong. I'm going to walk my hands into this nice stacked position. Shoulder over shoulder, hip as close to over shoulder as I can. My armpits are pointing towards the box and I'm pressing into the floor with those arms. Now, the key thing here is, should I do it for my toes or should I do it for my knees on the box? Well, what we're looking for is trying to stack the hand, elbow, shoulder, hip as best we can. So if you have really tight hamstrings and your knees are bent and you're trying to get that nice stacked position but your hamstrings won't allow it, go to your knees because that's a more stacked position that we're after in the handstand besides just kind of trying to get up there and being uncomfortable in your hamstrings. So drop to the knees on the box or on the chair to make sure we're getting the stacked position we're looking for. Now if you're looking at that going, well I kind of want to have my feet up, but I don't want to go inverted. What you can do is you can put your feet on your box or whatever you have at home. Hands are under the shoulders. We're gripping the floor. We push the shoulders, pull the ribs in, and we hold that elevated plank position as we just hold nice and strong. So that's going to load the shoulders just a little bit more and require a little bit more core control than just a normal plank on the floor. So if you'd like to do that, you're more than welcome to as well. But keep focusing on those key points we talk about on our floor plank on that elevated plank as well. Now coming down to the floor as well, we have our floor pike hold that we worked on in our warm-up today. So setting up in our tabletop, our hands come under the shoulders, our knees underneath the hips, and the toes curl under. We set the shoulders and the core first, and then from here, we lift those legs, or so we straighten out those legs, lifting the hips as we find that nice stacked position in our floor pike hold. Armpits are pointing towards the toes, pressing those shoulders away from the floor to get those arms nice and active. So if you want a little bit more kind of review on that, scroll back into the warm-up that we just did, rock it, have fun with it, use that as your handstand. It's a beautiful thing. Now if you're looking at that going, yeah, I don't really want to go horizontal today, I don't want to really go vertical today, you can come back to the floor and you can work on that nice plank position. So pulling the ribs in, pressing through the shoulders, nice and active here, and just hold that nice strong plank. Keeping in mind that we're banking time with that nice strong shoulder position, so shoulders pressing to the sky, ribs pulling in. Now, we have a couple other options laying on the floor with the body tightener, so we have that option as well, which we'll have at the workout description. But I hope you guys have that fun, pick that handstand hold that's going to allow you to further your handstand that much more. All right? So challenge yourself, but work with a skill that you're comfortable doing for a while, because you're gonna hit a few handstand holds in this work set. And if you can't hold for the whole 45 seconds later on, bank that time. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna kick up or you get yourself set. Say you get 20 seconds, woo! I gotta come out of it. My position's starting to fail out a little bit. Take a break, hit that 25 seconds left in your next hold, and build up to 45 seconds in that round. It'd be no different than breaking up a set of push-ups or a set of thrusters or whatever it happens to be, that movement that we're using in the workout. No different. We want to bank good, solid time working on those good positions. So have some fun with this one, you guys. I hope you enjoy those handstands. The other movement in the workout is the double under. We'll have a bunch of different double under equivalents in the workout description for you guys. It's going to be a good day for that one, but we're going to send the reps in the double under only. So again, quick recap, AMRAP 15 minutes, handstand hold for 45 seconds, accumulating that time frame, double under for 10, ascending reps by 10 double unders each round. So the handstand stays the same, the double unders will go up 10 reps every round. As always, you guys, work for quality, have a ton of fun with this one. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you chose to do for your handstand. I'm always interested to hear about those things. I love looking out across the room and seeing a bunch of different handstand variations in a class and group setting. So let me know what you rock for those handstands, and enjoy. Happy Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, you guys.